exactly. So the Newfoundland Circumnavigation. This program is one of my favorites. It starts and finishes in St. John's, Newfoundland. Completely circumnavigates the island in 10 days. It's a great way to do it compared to doing it by road, where it would be a lot of driving time. This way, you go out and explore for the day. You come back to the ship. You enjoy your meal and evening entertainment. You wake up the next morning, you're already in the next destination, no driving necessary. It's highlighted by a number of things. We visit 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Lancet Meadows is the only confirmed Viking site in North America. We also have Red Bay, which is the Basque whaling site from the 1500s. We also visit into Gros Morne, and Gros Morne is where the Earth's mantle is actually uprising through the crust. A very interesting spot. Lots of birds in the spring when we're traveling there, and also it's smack dab in the middle of iceberg and whale season because we're doing it in the spring. Our next program is the Mighty St. Lawrence is its title, and it will start in Quebec City and finish in Saint-Pierre. Oh, there you go. So Saint-Pierre is a French island just off the south coast of Newfoundland. From there we can either offer you a flight to St. John's, Newfoundland, or we can offer you an extra one-night sailing back into the capital of Newfoundland. So then this program is situated during the 3-week period when there's 13 different species of whales that are migrating out of the Gulf of the St. Lawrence, highlighted by there's lots of beluga whales and blue whale as well. So that very special, unique animal. We timed it specifically around these dates so that you can be there at the same time that these whales are migrating out from the river into the Gulf of St. Lawrence. It's very rich culture and history-wise in Quebec, of course, and again, being in the spring, there's lots of birds and marine wildlife. And we visit into Bonaventure Island, which is home of a gannet colony. Gannets are quite an interesting bird. They actually have the largest wingspan of any bird in the northern hemisphere. Highlighted by a number of different provincial and national parks. This would be a shot from the Cabot Trail. Our next program, this is actually the only one that I haven't experienced before. This is Sable Island, a very interesting destination. It's home to one of the, sorry, I should go back actually. It starts and finishes in St. John's in Newfoundland, and this is a 8-day program. It's highlighted by one of the world's last wild horse populations. So it's really interesting to see these wild horses. I have learned that it's the males that are the ones that groom themselves to attract the females, and then the females are the ones that don't really care and they stay shaggy. It's home to the world's largest breeding colony of gray seals, and also it's home to many different unique species, including the Ipswich sparrow. The Ipswich sparrow, this is the only place that you will see them breeding in the world. So it's home to a lot of unique wildlife. So now we're switching from our maritime programs up into the Arctic. This would be our sub-Arctic itinerary. Now it includes many different interesting destinations. Just to give you an idea, sorry that's not bright enough. So this is Ungava Bay, and this is Hudson Strait, okay? So that's Hudson Strait that will take us out to the Labrador Sea. The Labrador Sea would be over here. This is Hudson's Bay. So if you're thinking about it, Churchill would be somewhere over here on this side, all right? So this area here, this is actually a very strong current coming through Hudson Strait. Hudson Strait, around the middle of July, is when the ice is actually opening up. So when this ice opens up, it releases a lot of plankton, it attracts lots of wildlife. So it brings in seals, it brings in whales, it brings in bears. So it's a great trip for wildlife. Also, we visit into a number of Inuit communities. These Inuit communities are well known for their art. And then also we do 3 days in Greenland, highlighted by the capital of Greenland, which is Nuuk. Now, this trip has a very heavy focus on the Inuit culture because we do visit into the most communities on this trip compared to our other Arctic trips. This is the Inuit tool, the ulu, used for cutting meats and skinning meats. So our Arctic Safari program, this is exciting. WWF Canada has sponsored this trip. They're going to be on board with a number of different naturalists, and they'll be explaining the different conservation projects that they're working on to keep the Canadian wildlife areas in pristine condition. As we're seeing increased traffic through these areas, it's very important for us to be on top of that. I'd like to highlight Ilulissat. That's the home of Jakobshavn Glacier. That's the fastest moving glacier in the northern hemisphere. and then also these beautiful fjords that are in northeast Baffin. And we'll get to some of those photos. This is the ice that is produced from that glacier. This is not the glacier itself. These are icebergs that have calved off. They're about city-sized icebergs. It's hard to put into perspective how big they actually are. That ship is 147 meters long, so the icebergs are quite extensive. This is the type of scenery that you'll see in northeast Baffin Island, quite beautiful, and of course the focus is on wildlife for this trip. Beachy Island. Beachy Island is a very interesting destination. It's where Sir John Franklin spent his first 2 winters overnighting as they tried to find the links for the Northwest Passage. So then we have 2 Northwest Passage itineraries. These are by far our most popular. They're 17 days long. They either start in Greenland and finish on the western side of Nunavut, or they do it in reverse. So I'll just tell you briefly what the 2 differences are. This one, Into the Northwest Passage, is end of August, so it's earlier in the year. You're going to get more botany out in the tundra, and you're going to see more wildlife at this time of year. Both of them are going to have a very heavy culture focus and history focus. So being earlier in the year, you are going to see more wildlife. The Out of the Northwest Passage, a very similar itinerary. It's doing more of a southern route. This is later in the year, so you won't get as much botany. We do visit into some Hudson Bay posts, as well as old abandoned RCMP posts. This one you get the Aurora Borealis, on the other one you can't because it is too early in the season. So this is the only Northwest Passage trip for that. And again, you're getting these aspects of big ice and all the wonders of the Arctic. Now usually I show the video, which is quite enticing. I encourage you to go see it on the website. In order to keep it under 20 minutes, I'm going to fast forward. I've done this before and I know how angry you can get.
Well, how long is it?
Right now I'm at
No, but how long is the
8
video?
minutes. It's a minute and a half. So that would put me over. You sure?
Put it on. Yeah. We want to see it.
He's feeling generous.
This was filmed in 2015 on our Northwest Passage trip. I love how that video really gives you a feel of what it's like. It's only 130 seconds out of 17 days, but it gives you a feel of really one of the true last frontiers left to explore. And you can see how basically there's nothing around anywhere. So if you're looking for that off the beaten track style of trip, that is the ultimate. So lastly, we have our Greenland and Wild Labrador program. Actually, this might be my favorite because you get the Arctic sense when you're traveling through Greenland. You get the rough, rugged landscapes as you're sailing south down the Labrador coast, visiting into the Torngat Mountains National Park, and also Wonderstrands, which was highlighted in the Viking sagas. And then you get 3 days in Newfoundland, so you end with some great Newfoundland hospitality and hopefully not too much screech. You can see how beautiful the Torngat Mountains are. Again, great wildlife. We really focus around the wildlife on all of our trips. And I'll skip this video.
It's okay. Go ahead.
No, this one's much longer. I'm happy to show anybody that's interested. I'll happy to show it out.
We can email the link
Yeah,
afterwards.
that sounds good. So we do have a number of promotions. This is something that we'll offer exclusive to World Expedition, so anybody that's attending this evening will offer a free cabin upgrade. So you'll select the one below you actually want, and as long as we have the cabin above available, you'll get it at the reduced price. So we'll offer anybody here tonight that free cabin upgrade. I also like to mention they're family friendly. We do offer anybody under the age of 30 a 30% discount. It's kind of the opposite of a senior's discount, it's the student's discount. We are trying to encourage today's youth to come and experience what's happening to our planet as it's changing each and every minute. So thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate you coming out.